Residential electric customers who install solar panels often have questions about their Alliant Energy electric bill. It's true, solar can reduce or eliminate electricity costs, but you still have an electric bill. Your bill is likely to have an energy consumption charge some months and a generation credit other months. Let's review what determines your electric bill and how we factor in the energy your residential solar panels produce. In this video, we'll examine a bill for an Iowa customer who installed a residential solar system that operates at 84% of their load under the Inflow Outflow tariff approved by the Iowa Utilities Board. In this example, the customer's solar system produced more electricity than their home consumed. The customer has an excess generation credit on their bill statement. First, let's go through page 1 of an electric bill. The first page summarizes the account. At the top right, you'll see your account number, the due date, and the amount due. You'll also see your previous balance, the amount due on last month's bill, payment received, which was the last payment you made, the balance forward, which includes your previous balance minus any payment received, and your current charges, which are the charges you accumulated for this month's bill. On the left side, you'll see the readings we obtained either remotely or manually from your meter during the bill's time period. If you see an estimated next to either number, it means we estimated that reading. Below the meter readings is the number of electricity units you consumed during the reading period. We calculated this based on the difference between the two meter readings. On this page, you also see your energy usage. You can compare this to previous months. Below that, you will see the average daily electricity usage for the month's billing period. Next, we'll explain your energy charges and calculations. Pages 2 and 3 detail the charge breakdown for the electric portion. You will see your rate schedule and the number of days the bill covers. Here you have your meter information. This shows the energy delivered to you from the grid and the energy the grid received from your solar system. The delivered portion identifies how much electricity Alliant Energy delivered to you. In other words, the amount of energy you consumed that became a charge on your account. This is also referred to as inflow electricity that flows into your home from the grid. You will see your meter number, the beginning reading, the end reading, and the total number of kilowatt hours used beyond what your solar system generated in that period. The received portion identifies how much electricity Alliant Energy received from you. In other words, it's the amount of excess energy your panels generated that your home didn't use at the time. Your system sent this excess energy back to the grid to Alliant Energy, and it became a credit on your account. This is also referred to as outflow electricity that flows out to the grid from your home. Similarly, you'll see your meter number, the beginning reading, the end reading, and the total number of kilowatt hours your solar system generated in excess of what you used that period. Please remember that Alliant Energy's net meter does not interact with the solar panel meter your installer provided. We do not know how much energy your solar system produced overall, and we cannot measure the total amount of electricity your home used. We can only measure inflow and outflow from and to the grid. Moving on, the subtotal inflow energy charge is the amount of the total charges for the electricity Alliant Energy delivered to your home. We calculate this based on either a winter or summer step and applicable tariffs for your rate schedule. During certain months of the year, the price per kilowatt hour of energy decreases as you use more. If you use enough energy to qualify, you'll see this rate difference reflected on your bill as steps. Let's take a closer look at how we calculate these charges. In this example, because our billing period covers the summer months, you'll see a summer step. Each step has a ceiling or cap of kilowatt hours. The cost of electricity remains the same until you reach this certain number of kilowatt hours on average per day. At this point, you max out the cap and begin to be charged according to the next step rate. In this example, the first step caps out at the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day. We apply the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day to this step, and that maxes out the first step. The second step caps out at the next 23.014 kilowatt hours per day. This customer's total usage was 1,218 kilowatt hours. We calculate the average kilowatt hours per day during the bill cycle by taking the full amount consumed in the month, in this case 1,218, and divide it by the number of days in the bill cycle, in this case 33. This gives us an average of 36.909 kilowatt hours per day. The first 16.438 of those maxed out the first step rate. Because they used 20.471 kilowatt hours on average per day more than that, they'll be billed for that amount on the second step rate. Now that we understand where those units of electricity come from, we can calculate the cost. We multiply the kilowatt hours in the first step by the number of days in the billing month, 33 days. We then multiply that result by the first step tariff. That gives us the total charge at the first step rate. We then follow the same equation to calculate the second summer step rate charge. To calculate the remainder of the section, we take the delivered usage, 1,218 kilowatt hours, and multiply that by the applicable tariffs for each line item. This gives us a total for each item. Once we get the total per line item, we add them all together. The amount equals $239.15. This is our example customer's total charge for the energy they consumed. That's the energy that flowed in from the grid to their home. The next step is to calculate the subtotal outflow energy credit amount, the total credits of electricity Alliant Energy received as excess from our example customer's solar system. Like the section above, this energy is calculated based on either a winter or summer step and applicable tariffs for the rate schedule. Let's take a closer look at how we calculate these charges. Again, because our billing period covers the summer months, you'll see a summer step. As explained previously, each step has a ceiling or cap of kilowatt hours. In this case, the cap is the maximum number of kilowatt hours at each step rate that a residential solar system can produce and send to the grid for Alliant Energy to purchase at that step rate. The first step caps out at the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day. The second step caps out at the next 23.014 kilowatt hours per day. And the third step is anything over 39.452 kilowatt hours per day. Because the system produced more than the first step limit and less than the second step limit, we will apply 2 steps on the bill. This customer's system sent a total of 1,526 kilowatt hours to the grid. In this case, we only calculate the outflow energy credit based on 1,282 kilowatt hours in the month. The reason why this is less than the initial received excess of 1,526 kilowatt hours is because our example customer's system has been installed to operate at 84% of their load under the inflow-outflow tariff. To confirm the operation percent of your system, please review the paperwork Alliant Energy shared with you and your installer during your installation process. You can also confirm by dividing 1,282 kilowatt hours by the initial received excess of 1,526 kilowatt hours and multiply that total by 100 to receive the percentage, 84% in our example. We apply the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day the customer generated on average, and that maxes out the first step. The second step has a cap of 23.014 kilowatt hours per day. The system didn't reach that cap. Since they produced and are getting credit for 1,282 kilowatt hours, we will divide that amount by 33, giving us an average of 38.848 kilowatt hours per day generated. We'll apply the first 16.438 to the first step, so we'll credit the customer for the remaining 22.410 kilowatt hours on the second step rate. We multiply the kilowatt hours on the first step by the number of days in the billing period, in this case 33 days. Then we multiply that result by the first step tariff, and the amount equals $63.39. We then follow the same equation to calculate the second summer step. To calculate the remainder of the section, we take the received excess of 1,282 kilowatt hours. This is less than the initial received excess of 1,526 kilowatt hours because our example customer system is installed to operate at 84% of their load under the inflow-outflow tariff. To confirm the operation percent of your system, please review the paperwork Alliant Energy shared with you and your installer during your installation process. Another way to confirm is to divide this received excess, 1,282 kilowatt hours, by the initial received excess of 1,526 kilowatt hours, and multiply that total by 100 to find the percentage, 84% in our example. Now that we know where those units of electricity came from, we multiply 1,282 kilowatt hours by the applicable tariffs for each line item, and this gives us a total for each item. Once we have the totals for each line item, we add them all together. The amount equals $251.70. This is the customer's credit for the energy their system generated as excess. That's the energy that flowed out from their solar system to the grid. Now that we've calculated our inflow energy charge and our outflow energy credit, we find the difference between those totals. The energy charge is $239.15. When we subtract the energy credit of $251.70, we're left with a remaining credit balance of $12.55. Because the customer system generated more energy than their home consumed, we'll carry the remaining credit of $12.55 forward. The account had previous unused energy credits called banked credits. We'll add this new credit to the previous unused outflow energy credit for a total of $223.85 in banked credits. The final portion of your bill summarizes your charges. Because in this example the customer generated more energy than they consumed, the billed energy amount is zero. The outflow energy credit we carry forward is $223.85. The customer is responsible for a basic service charge that covers the cost of their service meter and maintenance of utility equipment. To calculate this, we take the number of days in the billing period, 33, and multiply it by the tariff for a total of $14.10. The next item on your bill is the franchise fee or local option sales tax, if applicable. A franchise fee, where applicable, is a charge between 1% and 5% of a customer's bill total as determined by their local city council. To calculate this, we take the billed energy amount and add the basic service charge, then we multiply that result by the franchise fee percentage. If your town does not have a franchise fee, we add together your billed energy amount and basic service charge, and then multiply that by the local option sales tax percentage, if it's applicable. In this example, we take the billed energy amount and add the basic service charge for a total of $14.10. We multiply that by the tax percentage, 1%, for a total of 14 cents. The last item on your bill is the monthly parallel generation cash out, the remaining percentage of kilowatt hours from the received energy portion we did not credit under the inflow-outflow tariff. We credit this energy instead of the CSPP or avoided cost tariff. To calculate this, we find the difference between the initial received energy, 1,526 kilowatt hours, and the energy credited under the inflow-outflow tariff, 1,282 kilowatt hours. The remainder is 244 kilowatt hours. We multiply that by the tariff for a total of $8.08. This is our example customer's credit for the remaining energy their system generated as excess. We can and will apply those credits to cover bill charges. Finally, we add those totals up. The billed energy amount plus the basic service charge plus the tax percentage is $14.24. We apply the $8.08 in credits accumulated under the 16% load capacity at the CSPP, and the bill comes to $6.16. This is the amount due on the customer's bill, and it cannot be covered using energy credits accumulated under the 84% load capacity at the inflow-outflow rate. The customer must make a full payment to avoid late fees or disconnection. For additional resources regarding Alliant Energy's customer-owned generation services and processes, visit alliantenergy.com/sellmypower.